Yep, sorry about that. Welcome back, everyone, to the Nitro Corner. I'm Paul the Nitro Skivers. This is the third and final part of this month's edition of the Nitro Corner. Let's get into some analysis, shall we? We begin with Cesaro. If anyone saw the shoot promo he pulled on WWE.com about too much focus on the brand extension and should be focused on the superstars, I asked myself, did Cesaro's shoot promo help change the mindset of the WWE? I certainly hope so, because if they're going to go in the direction of more focus on Shane hates Stephanie, Stephanie hates Shane, I'm going to put you out of business, Shane, no, Steph, I'm going to put you out of business, complete waste of time. A complete waste of time. It should be on just the superstar and promoting the talent, and it makes your brand strong. It's that natural competition, not Shane versus Steph, Steph versus Shane. How many more times do we have to go through that? Excuse me. How many more times do we have to go through that before we flip the channel? It's not about you guys. It's about the talent. It is always about the talent. Use the talent for your natural competition. All I'm saying about that. So hopefully it changed the mindset. If not, I don't blame Cesaro, not one bit. Great stuff from Cesaro as far as I'm concerned on that. Moving on now, let's talk about Bayley. Was Bayley shortchanged in the draft by being undrafted? Actually, I'm not gonna believe I'm saying this, but no. I think Bayley right now is maybe a year away from being drafted up to Raw and SmackDown. I think she is the face of the women's division in an NXT. I think with just about one more year in NXT, I wouldn't be too surprised to see Bayley be bumped up to either Raw or SmackDown. Give her about a year. I'm saying it right now. Give her about 1 year from now. We'll be talking about Bayley on both either Raw or SmackDown. So no, she was not shortchanged. I say give her about a year from right now. We'll be talking about her on Raw or SmackDown. Next up, will SmackDown work on Tuesdays, or do they need to go back to Thursday nights? Depends on a couple factors. Number one, is your overall show good? Last week's show was good. You had the Battle Royal to start things, and then the six-pack challenge in the middle. But you had no main event. All you saw was Orton posing. No, what you should have done was put the six-pack challenge in the main event, switch the highlight reel to the middle portion of your show. You always got to have a main event. If not, why are you watching it in the first place? This is not back in the old days where you could get away with putting the main event in the middle of the card. But no, you got to have a main event at the end of your show for people to look forward to. Number two, look at the television schedule around it. USA Network. Let's see, if you're going to try to compete, you've got to remember you got so much hype around the new shows like Mr. Robot. They're really pushing that to the hilt because of the Emmys. They want that Emmy money, so they got Mr. Robot. They got Modern Family reruns. You know, you got to push that reruns. Law and Order. Good God Almighty, how many more reruns of Law and Order do you need? But that's another factor you got to look at when you're talking about SmackDown. Thursday nights was a little bit better because there's not much hype towards Mr. Robot. Maybe they put out a movie that you've seen 1,000 times, so that gives SmackDown a fair opportunity. I'm going to give them a 60-day trial. I'll give them a 60-day trial. At the end of 60 days, if I don't see much change on SmackDown as far as moving that main event to the main event, and the overall product is not really up to snuff on Tuesdays, I will call for them to return to Thursday. So I'll give them a 60-day trial on that. And finally, Ring of Honor. Normally I would do my shows, excuse me for a second, focus more primarily on the WWE because I don't see any other competition out there. But I will admit, Ring of Honor has really impressed me. They got a 1-hour show here and over on Channel 19 out of Wilmington is like a infomercial channel, but they know how to capitalize on a 1-hour show. Just look at last week's show, focusing on the world title match between Jay Lethal defending his title against Sean O'Cassidy. Tremendous matchup between those two men, and they focus on those 3 matches. They give it to the action. They don't overhype things. They focus on the athletes. So, to be quite honest, I've been thinking about this the last couple weeks, and I have made the decision that for the next Nitro Corner and through in the foreseeable future, I will feature Ring of Honor opinion and analysis and information right here on the Nitro Corner. That will start in August. So expect Ring of Honor news right here on the Nitro Corner. We welcome Ring of Honor to the Nitro Corner family. And that is it for my analysis for this month. Now it's trivia time. Folks, you've been sending in your... hopefully you've enjoyed trivia time. I know I have, answering these questions, and I've come up with a couple good ones this week. So without any further ado, it's trivia time. Of course, 2 trivia questions. When I do the Delaware Pro Wrestling Report on August the 6th, I will give you the answers then. So here we go with trivia time. Question number 1. It's a true or false statement. True or false? Bob Backlund defended the World Wrestling Federation title in Houston, Texas against Alpha the Samoan in 1982. Repeat, true or false? Bob Backlund defended the World Wrestling Federation title in Houston, Texas against Alpha the Samoan in 1982. Okay, next trivia question. In what football position did Tito Santana, real name Mercedes Solis, play during his college years at West Texas State? In what position, football position, did Tito Santana, real name Mercedes Solis, play during his college football days at West Texas State? I will have the answers to those 2 trivia questions August 6th, on the Delaware Pro Wrestling Report. Now for timeline this week, covering July 1st to July 31st. First, I'll start with the WWE. Back on July 1st, 1982 in South Yarmouth, Massachusetts, Cowboy Bob Orton Jr. defeated Cheap J Strombo by disqualification. Again, I will credit Mark James and Graham Cawthorn. Purchase their books, folks. Believe me, they're historic, so I always will credit them for the timeline. This is where I get my information from. Graham Cawthorn and Mark James. By the way, with Mark James, new book coming out, the record book for the Universal Wrestling Federation / Mid-South Wrestling. It's going to be out in September on Amazon. Go buy it. If you're a UWF fan, go buy it. It's a good book. Moving on now with the timeline. WCW, July 10th, 1993 in Aberdeen, Maryland, Sting defeated Sid Vicious. And finally, Houston Wrestling, July 30th, 1983, AWA World Heavyweight title match, Nick Bockwinkel defeated Dick Slater. That is the timeline for this month. Well, that's it for this edition of the Nitro Corner. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out and joining us. Our next show will be on August 28th. Until then, I'm Paul the Nitro Skyverse saying so long, everybody. We'll see you next time.